Alright guys, we are on Twitter today, and you may be wondering, Wazzy, you've never been on Twitter before. I mean, I have, but either way, we have some very important things that are coming very, very soon. There's going to be amazing quality of life updates, possibly coming next Monday, we're not sure. They might be a little bit later, of course, but they've teased two things so far, and we know of a couple more things that are coming as well, so we'll talk about those. So the first one here, Mod Breezy has posted that movement abilities such as Surge, Escape, and Bladed Dive will no longer put you in combat unless you're already in combat. So this is super useful because let's say you're doing a clue scroll and you've searched your clue spot, you dig up the clue scroll, then you check on your next clue real quick, and it's like, oh, that's Eagle's Peak Lodestone. So like, oh, now I've got to wait 10 seconds after my surge before I can teleport there with my lodestone network. But now, you don't, basically, because you're not classed as in combat. So, you've searched your previous clue, you can then instantly lodestone teleport to your next clue location. Like, how cool is that? It's an update that I think a lot of us, I think someone posted down here, yeah, something I didn't even know that I wanted. Like, that's actually really good, so I'm quite looking forward to that one. And for those that are worried, like, oh my god, what happens if, I drop out of combat, but I'm trying to stall my adrenaline, which really shouldn't be a thing anymore, Jagex, please remove it. Don't worry, because if your adrenaline is draining, then Surge will put you back in combat again. So it's only if your adrenaline is static, and I believe that static includes if you've got like an adrenaline or persistent rage relic, which really should be permanent, then you should be able to just maintain your current adrenaline while also not triggering combat. So that's super, super cool. So very much looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys are as well. Ninja Team have done it again. And there's also something else. The part 2 down here. I might maximize this one so you can see. So let's switch it back to the beginning here. So as you can see here, you put Vom Bomb on your bar and you can choose 2 different modes. It's a bit blurry, but hopefully you can see it. There's the default mode, which I believe is as it works right now. They give it the other way around. And the target mode, which will then fire at your target. I think that's the correct one. It might be the other way, but you get the drift. So yeah, let's assume that default is the current usage, where you press your keybind on your bar and you're able to click on the ground or click on your opponent, but it's more consistent if you click on the ground, and then it throws the bomb. But if you choose the other option, it automatically will throw the bomb into a valid tile that will affect the boss. Like, how cool is that? Because like, I'm sure a lot of you have probably had it, where like at Raksha, it was the wrong way around. So default throws it automatically, and then target, you target it yourself. I probably should have gathered that, shouldn't I? But either way, you probably had it at Raksha, where you try and throw the bomb at Raksha P4, and it doesn't quite fit in. Maybe you tried to Von Crassian Leviathan, and it's like, oh, I missed it by 1 tile. It's really annoying. So that will be a thing of the past. So that's super, super cool. You will have to, maybe possibly have 2 keybinds if you really want to, try hard a bit by, like pre-volting things. But this is just like super nice. So I think most people will have it where it just automatically throws, and then, maybe for like a select few bosses, like let's say like Solak, for example, let you throw a bomb down before the core happens. For example, could be quite a good way of doing it. So maybe you can like switch up mid-combat, I'm not really sure. That might be a good thing there. So yeah, those are the 2 things that we have on video here, which is super, super cool. So the cool search thing is going to save us just time and frustrations, that's cool. And then the bomb thing, which will be probably just saving us quite a few erroneously thrown Vom Bombs, which is super nice. And one other thing that we know is coming soon as well. I don't believe we have any video footage of that, but coming soon is changes to Virago. So we're not sure on the exact specifics, but they have hinted in places. It's probably on Mod Ryan's Twitter somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I know he's hinted in places that Virago will become soloable. So I believe that is a change to P1 that lets you jump on Virago from any angle. Because currently he has to be like facing away from you in phase 1. That would no longer be the case, so that's really, really cool. Because currently you've got to use an alt account to lure Virago for you if you wish to try and solo, which is just a bit annoying. And I believe they are also speeding up phase 2, which I think for a lot of people, if you've done Virago, you'll kind of know the snooze fest that is phase 2. Which yeah, it is a bit boring, let's be honest. So they're speeding that up. I don't know if they're going to make it so that you're going to do like a certain amount of damage or just like lowering the amount of like gravity orbs you've got to put in. Not really sure. But all we know is solo Virago is coming. And I imagine that might include changes to phase 4 as well. Even though that's less of a problem than phase 2, but it still does take a little while. I think phase 3 is fine and phase 5 fine as well. Those are like the only times you really get to play the game actually for Virago. The other phases you're just kind of you're like just like twiddling your thumbs waiting for the boss to move on. But yeah, hopefully phase 1, 2, and 4 changes coming soon. I'm sure we'll get more details in the near future, likely on Friday. Maybe not about Virago, but more about this. I believe they'll be doing some more teasy things. So that's going to be super, super cool. And if you guys didn't see the Q&A today, they did a Q&A. Combat Q&A is very interesting. Would recommend giving it a go. But I guess the main takeaways was, you know, if you own a Staff of Armadyl, you probably know that like rune costs are a bit of a problem at the moment. So they've said they've been talking about that quite a lot, which is kind of interesting. Hopefully they bring down the cost of runes, because I'm so low on my Iron Man, it's a disaster. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. What other things were there? Mod Ramen thinks that Soul Split and Resonance and Devotion are very OP, and honestly he's not wrong. Like if you go from an account before Soul Split to then getting Soul Split, it's like you go from eating like a banquet fit for like a king and his entire kingdom, and then you just go to eating nothing. So yeah, Soul Split broken, Resonance broken, Devotion probably also broken. But I don't know, it's just like the things they have to think about when designing content, because I don't know, everything's just so OP. How do you make something challenging and also, you know, like know that players can have all this OP stuff? It's a tricky balance. But yeah, I would recommend watching the Twitch VOD of them for that. Also, there's a TLDW on Reddit if you haven't seen. Good old Rubik has done the Combat Council Q&A, which is really badly cropped on my screen, but it's here if you want it. There it is, like all sorts of combat changes, well not changes, sorry, combat discussions. Important ones I guess are you know, like Tectonic Energy, a little bit much compared to Serenic. I think I should add more drop piles to hard mode. I think that would be a very, very good starting point. And yeah, apparently for rune cost changes have been made, so that's good. And there's all sorts of other stuff in here as well, so I would recommend taking a look. But for now, those are the ninjury updates coming soon, or a couple of them anyway. So hopefully you enjoyed this little ramble. And yeah, shoutouts to, you know, Mod Ryan, Mod Breezy, and the rest of the Ninja team. And yeah, get ready to save some bombs and surge without being in combat. Awesome.